Hello again from my front porch. And man, has it been a while since we've had a conversation here. And no reason except for the fact life has been very busy. I'm not even going to get into why it has been so busy, but trust me, it has been very, very busy. Although, here more recently, I've had opportunity to have a little bit of downtime. Deb and I have been finally, some of you are going to shake your head that I'm really late to the game on this, and I admit, I probably should have been watching it sooner, but a TV show called Bridgerton, which is available on Netflix. It's already had 4 seasons. And I had heard other people talking about it and bragging it up, and I was like, okay, it sounds interesting, but I just never I saw bits and pieces of a couple of episodes, but never just sat down to watch it. Well, we both had an interest in wanting to check it out. So we did, and now we are pretty much hooked. I think we've been through 6 episodes, maybe 7 of the first season, and really, really enjoying it. But there's something that I've picked up from one of the narrative threads that seems to run through the entire show. But it's not just that show; it's that era, and it might even be our era now today. And that is this notion of creating a false perception of hiding a lot about you. Now, we all have skeletons in our closet. We all have mistakes that we made in the past that we wish we hadn't made, and that, the old cliche of, well, if I could go back, I'd change things. Honestly, there are some things that I kind of do wish I could go back and change, but to a large extent, I also recognize that every mistake that I made helped shape me to who I am now, that I learned from those mistakes, and then it helped me improve to be a better person. And so it's like, would I want to change? What if I change those? Then who would I be? What would So we all have those. That's not what I'm talking about. And you all know I have my skeletons in my closet. I mean, you see, McCoy and Mulder. When it's not October, they're just in my closet. So anyway. What I'm talking about is when there is something that you are intentionally, purposefully presenting a lie to the rest of the world. You're hiding something about yourself or something about a dynamic involving your family, which is what happens on this Bridgerton show a lot. There are a lot of secrets that are being withheld. And I'm not going to get into any of the details. So if you're not somebody who started watching it, I don't want to give anything away. Suffice to say that there is a running character. It's an author, you could say. Some lady, supposedly, we don't even know who it is. Could be a guy pretending to be a lady under a lady's pseudonym, like Ben Franklin when he wrote the letters to his brother's magazine, and he signed them the Silas Dogood letters, pretending to be this middle-aged woman, but it was young Ben Franklin. Anyway, so we don't know who's the actual author behind these scandal sheets, but they make a lot they milk a lot of exposing these secretive lies that these, especially upper crust, the top rung of society, want to keep hidden. The things that they want to purposefully mislead other people about. This woman, this author, delights in exposing these kind of things. Now, those things would not be able to be exposed if they weren't there. If the individuals or families in question didn't work so hard to hide those things. And there's that old cliche that when you seek to deceive, and I just blanked on the rest of it. But the problem with trying to deceive, when you try to spin this web of deceit, you can get lost in your own lies. And when you're not truthful, when you fabricate an entire facade, now you have to maintain that. You have to continue to feed it, because there will always be the people who are just a little skeptical, a little questioning. They're going to ask you about details, and you have to respond. And then you have to remember what you said, because somebody else may ask you a similar question, and you better respond the same way. And then you run into situations where you've told a detail, and then you run into somebody who can expose that detail you made up isn't real, isn't authentic. And I'm not going to get into specifics about this, but I've encountered several of these in real life. We're watching it play out in several plot lines on Bridgerton, but I've seen this in real life. I've seen people who invest so much effort and energy into wanting everybody else to see them a certain way and to ignore certain things about them, to turn a blind eye, sort of like the emperor has new clothes, the emperor's the wardrobe, but the emperor walks around naked, but everyone's supposed to say, oh, it's beautiful because, if you don't see the clothes, well, something's wrong with you. And somehow this charlatan convinces everybody, including the emperor, that this is the way it is, until one really smart kid goes, wait a minute, how come the emperor doesn't have any clothes on? And so the Hans Christian Andersen story, if you're not familiar with it. And so that same thing applies though, because sure, you can make up a story, you can build a facade, you can have a false impression that you present to people, and it might hold up for quite a while. But eventually something is going to happen, and the legs are going to get knocked out from under that. We see it with celebrities today. We see it with politicians today. We see it the news on a daily basis, it tends to be full of people who get exposed for this thing or that thing. On a small scale, I know that there have been many times where there's articles about some city clerk in some small town here in the Midwest who gets busted for embezzling money or abusing the power of that position to mess it. Or you'll hear about teachers who seduce students. You'll hear about police officers who abuse their position for various reasons. Anyway, my point is, don't do that. Well, 2 points actually. Don't do that. Don't make up lies about yourself. If there's something you don't want people to know, just don't talk about it. Just ignore it. Just don't start trying to present a false narrative, because then you got to maintain that. But also, when you're talking to somebody and it feels like it's a little, it might be skeptical. Question it. There you go. That's my word of advice. That's my Bridgerton-inspired word of advice. And with that, I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.